Yeah, it's a tough question. I think that big companies in particular have been very poor, they're very weak at understanding what it is that they're confronting, and I think that they've, in many cases, experienced great damage to their brand because they failed to grasp what it is that is happening. What it is if you want to sort of see it in marketing terms, it's empowerment of the consumer. The consumer now can make a huge stink about something if they're not happy about it. And so if a company isn't going to be there online monitoring that and contributing to the discussion in a positive way, then they're going to pay the price. The most obvious examples are just simply a blogger who's unhappy with a product and will post something online, and that then through Google, through search engines, becomes a kind of mecca, a big kind of water fountain around which other disaffected users and consumers will gather. Now, if the company doesn't know that that website exists, or knows that it exists and tries to ignore it, or worse, knows that it exists and tries to crush it, then they are going to experience serious problems. Yeah, well, I think their brand is already in the hands of the consumer. They can't do much about that. What they can do, though, is to try and develop a strategy which enables them to find an authentic voice, a credible voice, and a commitment to contributing to the discussion online and trying to address the problems of the users. Whether they're legitimate or not, they're still out there and they're going to be there forever. Even if that site is deleted, it's still going to be on archive.org or Google Cache for a very long period. So it makes sense for companies to understand that is not going away. As for developing a strategy, my advice is always to appoint somebody in the company or appoint a department that is there purely to interact with the online consumer. Every website now, every company website has a consumer feedback form, although they're often very well hidden and not well monitored. I this morning was complaining to a company because I posted a complaint on their through their consumer form, never heard back from them. And these kind of things irritate users, and if the user has a blog or is a prominent individual, then they can make life hell. Jeff Jarvis is one example that springs to mind. He runs Buzz Machine, which is a very well-regarded blog about online media, and he was very unhappy with Dell for some reason a few years ago. And he laid into them no end on the blog, to such a point where Dell had to personally apologize to him. I think that sometimes that's a little bit of an abuse of power. I try and kind of not do that myself. But if I find a service or a product that I'm not happy with, and I'm reviewing it in a professional capacity, then I will mention that. And quite often what happens is that if I post it on my blog, then other people start to post their own experiences. So two examples on my blog are Nokia in India and Napster in the US, both of which failed to do what I expected them to do when I was reviewing their services. And so when I posted on it, both of those blog posts now are quite high up the Google search rankings if you do Napster or do Nokia India, for example. And every day I get comments on that blog. They're nothing to do with my original post, it's just become a discussion forum for all these people who are unhappy for one reason or another with these particular products. I noticed recently that Napster have now had one guy monitoring it and will try to post responses to it, which is a very smart way of doing it. And I think that's what has to happen. Companies have got to try and get into the conversation.